Hey, Rhinestoners. Welcome back to episode 22 of Rhinestone.
Rhinestoned.
Yeah, we're in our leopard today. I was definitely in a leopard mood because
Hmm.
it is the middle of the week, of a holiday week, no less.
Which is why do they feel longer?
And I'm struggling, exactly. I
When
needed
is
a
this
little
week gonna
pick me up.
end?
There is no better pick me up than leopard and red lipstick. Am I right?
Amen, sister.
Here we are.
You preach,
So,
I'll turn the pages.
yes. So yes, I'm feeling like I've dressed mood appropriate, but really, I just like cannot stop thinking about last night. And Rhinestoners, I mean, that's really what we're here to talk about today because that's all anyone is talking about. What else would we talk about? We'll dabble a little bit in Rhode Island because I do think it's getting more interesting. But yeah, last night was the episode we have been waiting for. You could feel the energy in the air. I'm not kidding you. You could feel it. It was like everyone knew the Summer House Reunion episode one.
Oh my
And
God,
and
I thought
and
we were
we
gonna talk about the three CDs that Drake dropped.
no. Although, isn't it interesting how there's a music video for like almost all of them? Did
I
you?
know. I do kind of love that, and then the girls in it the whole time. I'm
I
like,
feel like
what is
he's trying
that?
to have his like Beyonce Lemonade moment. Here's the thing, just a brief PSA to artists. I think stop trying with that. I
No,
don't
I
think it's
know.
ever gonna feel the way that it felt when Beyonce did that. Remember, like that was like a news item. It was like, and she did a music video for every single song.
It's literally the line in the song, you know where you were when that music dropped or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and at the time, it was revolutionary and it was exciting. And you were like, oh, not only do I love Beyonce, I love her music, and now I get like this visual album. Yes.
Yes.
But all you artists keep doing it and it doesn't have the same effect. I'm sorry. Why? Because like 0.5% of you can even come close to the visual storytelling that Beyonce has achieved. That's the
Listen.
real issue. Like I'm
Hmm.
watching the Drake videos and I'm like, oh, it's gonna, uh, oh no, no, no. Okay. No,
Here's one
it's
thing I
not.
will say. Beyonce is an artist
Mm-hmm.
and has surrounded herself with other artists her whole
Yeah.
career. And
Ding, ding,
so when it
ding.
comes time to do things like this, like a visual album, you call in the big dogs.
The
You
best.
know,
The
you're
very
you're
best, including
you're
your
on
own
the top of a
sister.
police car in a flooded New Orleans. What are we
You have
talking
you
about?
have so much to draw upon. You have your own sister who has always been more creative than you. Let's
More of
be
a visual
real.
artist, I would definitely agree.
I mean, and you're totally right. And that is what it is. Beyonce has always surrounded herself with the best. She knows who to reach to tap into the cultural
Yes.
zeitgeist, right?
Yes.
And I think now people are lost trying to create it because they don't know what it is anymore.
I
But
agree.
we
Anyway, sorry.
digress, Rhinestoners. Okay, we can't help ourselves. We just can't help it. We love pop culture so much. Um,
But
wow.
what we
Can I
love.
just here's what I'm gonna say to kick us off, okay? The one thing just from the very beginning that I felt like was like a gift to us Bravo fans
Mm.
is that I fully did anticipate that we would be sort of just, you know, jumping into like the arrivals, like how we would normally see it, right? The fact that we got that whole like Lindsay interview,
Was
Kyle's gonna come
fantastic.
in and we're gonna hear them experience the statement together I mean, the statement thing you and I almost spent a whole podcast talking about and dissecting, like to get that moment and then them calling each other. I mean, thank you, Bravo. Thank you, Andy. In some ways, that was the most interesting part of the reunion.
I don't want to jump the gun. And maybe this won't even come up, so I'll say it. It really did bring home for me when Jesse was one of the first ones to call Lindsay in that moment,
Oh,
too.
totally.
How much this guy was dialed into, like, this is not going to be good for the tour. This is not good for my career. You know what I mean? Like, he's instantly doing the calculations of, like, oh
Oh,
no.
no, no, no. Not for my income stream. Look, I will say that is why I have really struggled with Jesse. I liked Jesse season one. Since
Yep.
then, I have
Yeah.
not liked
Me too.
Jesse. And it's
Yeah.
because I feel like he's lost his way. I actually don't think he is inauthentic. I think that being on the show has made it hard for him to realize how to get back to his authentic self, which is what we saw of him first season. That's my feeling. I feel like I sort of, connected to him. He was goofy, he was being vulnerable, he was sharing about his cancer journey. And
Yeah.
then we spent a whole season where like his storyline was Lexi, right? And now this season, he's kind of been on the periph, I would say, of this season anyways, right? I
He
mean,
kind
like
of feels
not much of it has
defeated.
really involved Jesse outside of like the blip where he made his play for Sierra, right?
Which, okay. And also, I will say that is one of the things that one of the things that I've seen a lot of TikTok creators talk about is this, like, let us not forget how Wes was moving in the summer house this summer. And I do think that that is one thing that we have not talked about enough
Yeah.
is the weirdness around West feeling so protective of Sierra,
Yeah.
the way that he spent that whole party, like going around telling Lindsay, it was the first thing he said when Lindsay came through the door, right? Is, hey, Jesse asked me if he could hook up with Sierra. So I guess it's like I almost didn't remember that. And I am having a hard time reconciling that because I guess it just makes me feel like, well, then Wes really is just a terrible person.
Person.
Really.
Yes. I think that is the conclusion that most people have come to. Um, I don't, I think it's giving him too much credit to think that all of this is calculated. And we'll get to
Yeah.
that too, right? Like there's a comment that Lindsay makes that, sort of implies like that this is like a playbook that he's running. And I do
Uh-huh.
think to a certain extent she is right when it comes to like treatment of women. I don't think that he's like such a mastermind though that he like I mean, it's very obvious in watching what's happened that he doesn't really know what he's doing, right? I mean, like he basically could have avoided the nightmare that was, last season for him if he had maybe just handled things a little bit differently. So
Yeah.
I think that's the only thing where I struggle with where it's like, I don't think he's a good person. I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's conflicted, shall we say.
Okay, I guess
Or,
then.
or, which kind of then gets into a little bit deeper into, or he's just heavily drugged every time that we
Oh
see
my
him.
God, Nicole, that's what I was gonna say. No,
Or it's just
no, you
that.
didn't just say that.
It could just be that.
Wow. When I literally just was saying, well, that's a thing to get into because it happens at the beginning. So, okay, when Andy comes in and he checks in on them and he's
Yeah.
like, wow, and you two are calm.
Yeah. Because they're like nannied out.
We're Zannied out, we're Zanny barred out, and it's like I do think to think that you can just go and do, and I'm not saying allegedly, we know nothing. We're just, having funsies over here. But the idea that you can be on Lexapro or be on
Yeah.
Prozac and then go on the weekends and just throw a bunch of other chemicals on it, inclusive of alcohol,
Totally.
and then think that
But
that's
but
not gonna.
I do think that's what a lot of people are doing. I think a lot of people on Bravo especially are doing it to
I
cope
think so. I
with,
think so.
I mean, look, I think I heard Amanda say something to this effect sort of outside of the reunion, or I don't know where I saw this the other day. Or maybe it was on In the City, which we can also talk about. But it was something where she was saying like it's getting really hard. Maybe it wasn't the reunion last night. It was earlier in one of her responses to Sierra when Sierra was fishing around trying to figure out what was going on. And she was denying it. But she said back to Sierra, like, oh, it's just been really hard being me lately, like being out there. And I do think that I certainly don't know. I cannot say definitively, like, oh, none of the other franchises have that experience as well. But I do think you could argue that there are some that, because of the geography of it all, right,
Mm.
probably does make it a little bit harder in that, like, as these shows have gotten more popular, you are getting recognized in a different way. And so, like, a couple of examples: Salt Lake, Atlanta, like, they're in their homes. You know what I mean? Like, if they go out, they're going out to an event or a party or on a date or, whatever, right? That's a very different thing than Charleston.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing than New York City,
Yes.
where you're living your life amongst New Yorkers. And we New Yorkers do a pretty good job of like true New Yorkers try and leave celebs and, Bravo celebrities
Correct.
alone. But I
Yes.
do think that we feel more entitled to Bravo celebrities than real celebrities. That's the
Mm-hmm.
other thing. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
do think there's a sense of like, well, I can invade that person's place. They're in Bravo.
Yes,
Or
absolutely.
like you're essentially like reducing them to an influencer in your mind. And influencers want you to approach them a lot of times, right?
Absolutely. That's the whole thing. Yeah.
So I do think that there is that element of it that's like, for all of them, I'm sure has not been an easy journey, because there's been, even before this whole scandal, they have been growing in popularity for a number of reasons,
Yeah.
like Paige
Yeah.
drew attention to the show through leaving, or, there's just always little things here and there. So I don't know. I think that that has, in their case, I would imagine, contributed to drug use because you're basically just dealing with this, like, again, like weird reality where it's like you live in New York, your life is kind of like how you remember it, but kind of not, I mean, that's the other thing. Like, they all have this history in New York pre Summer House.
I always say this because I feel like on this podcast I've said this a million times, but I left this comment too because I just be leaving random TikTok comments left and right. I'm a comment warrior, and then it's so fun when you start getting likes on your comment, and you're like, yeah, it was a good. I was making a really good point. Um, this woman was talking about what it would really be like to be a Bravo celebrity in New York. This was what her whole video and how
Yeah.
it would be a horror show. And my
Yeah.
comment to her was, yeah, because you are famous enough to be recognized daily, but not famous enough to have the funds to slip into anonymity.
And
Like
and that's the other
you
thing.
can't
They're
just
not
go
walking
buy a
around with
compound in Connecticut.
they're not walking around with security. I mean, Wes and
Right.
Amanda are in Rome right now having shots leaked of them every 5 seconds.
Everywhere you're literally in the aisle to go on the plane. I mean, and I would just be, and then okay, and this does come back probably to, not to completely go on a different tangent here, but the Chapel Roan of it all, right? Where it's like, you start to maybe see why those things can get grating so fast because
Yeah.
ultimately the feeling is that everyone is just looking at you and not even looking at you. It's everyone's recording you. And they're going to take their little recorded video and go do something with it. That must feel unsettling,
Well, that's why obviously she looks ridiculous, but all of her little get-ups and the wig and all of that, it's
It's
like
like,
it's not that far-fetched that someone who is
that's
like
true.
probably in a very fragile mental state
That's
is
true.
taking steps like, I mean, hello, Britney Spears
I
shaving
was
her.
just going to reading my mind today. I was going
There's
to say
a
Britney
precedent for
Spears.
everything, people, okay? Like
She's having her Britney Spears. Well, you know
his
what that means.
history just repeats itself.
Oh no.
So I think, you know, okay, there's a couple things I want to say. I think going into it and seeing, first of all, getting that phone call was an amazing way to start. So just
Yeah,
like momentum wise, I thought we were like off to a great
we were.
reunion, and even seeing that like Mia was a part of that call, like in that conversation, it just, I think it gave that sense of like, the reason I think it was very good that they included that is that it was that reminder of like, they are all really friends, for better or for worse,
Absolutely.
right?
Right.
And like, this is rocking them and they are processing it collectively. So, like, that was great. Seeing Amanda and Wes was definitely like what we just said. It's like, wow, okay, like, what are we going to get from them if they're so, checked out?
Right.
But the next thing that I just was utterly shocked by, because it had already come up quite a bit in the run up to the reunion because of the leaked audio and even, a little bit the teasers that Bravo was releasing. There was already a narrative that was getting out there that like was clear that the opinion was going to be that West was not going to be defending Amanda and that,
Mhm.
he was going to be a little bit quieter and a little bit more reserved in how he was coming across. Okay. And that may well be true. But what we did not know when those rumors started flying is that this man found out 5 seconds before they were supposed to go live that his dick pics are everywhere.
Okay, I want to
And
talk about
and
this.
I just feel like I am not trying, like, I don't feel bad for Wes. He deserves everything he gets, okay? But can we just take a second and acknowledge as human beings that, like, that would be incredibly hard to remain focused on the task at hand, which was like navigating this reunion. I mean, first of all, if you want to flip the situation, if it was a woman who had that happening, she'd walk off
Walk
the
off
stage.
stage.
There's no way that a woman would find out that her privacy had been violated in that way.
We're
I mean,
leaving.
it's actually a testament to how much drugs they were on that he heard. Not only
That's
he heard this news,
true.
he heard that it was flaccid, and then he just settled back in.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what?
I also,
What?
okay, I want to just be 100% real when I say this. I saw the pics.
Yes, yes, Rhinestoners. This is the real tea. Because I was talking about this with my boyfriend. Like, Danae actually saw them.
I saw
They're
them.
out there.
And I'm a little like, hmm, why are we okay? When I saw these photos, please, Rhinestoners, in the comments, if anyone else has seen the photos, I need to hear from you. I'm a little concerned why the narrative is that he was flaccid. That was not my read when I saw the photos. I
Oh.
was not reading 100% flaccid from the situation at all. In
Well, can I ask a clarifying question before you continue? Because this was my one curiosity, and this is what I still don't understand because I didn't see the photo. And then we can get back into whether it was faucet or not. Was it clear from the photo that he knew the photo was being taken? Like
yes.
that okay. Because like some
He's
of the
in the
way
mirror taking the photo.
got it. Some of the way that it had been described and what I saw made it seem like someone had taken this photo of him.
No.
And so I was a little bit confused. Like, is this like, oh, that a photo of him got out, or is this like his own nudes that so it's his own nudes. Okay.
It's his own
Yeah,
nudes.
so then who would take a flaccid nude?
That's what I'm saying. And I don't know why we're so quick. Not we, but like this is
All the guys
also
said it was.
I, I, I don't know. And then they're gone. Like they've been scrubbed. Rightly so. Rightly so. They've been scrubbed from the internet. I do not think that it's a good thing that people should have these or be spreading these at all. I'm just saying they're not here anymore. Bravo knows they're not around.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I did not bow on it. I did not read fully flaccid from it. I think it's a great story to tell post this happening that I was flaccid when I think the case was why would I be sending a flaccid dick pic to someone? I think it was maybe there was some blood pumping to it and the thing was what it was.
Yeah.
Was
Not. But
which
then
was what it
again,
was.
I just don't understand like
I don't this
why. I mean, he even asked the question,
flaccid or not.
which kind of says that he's aware that there's ones that might be out there that
He,
are not. That's
I
that's the
don't
only thing I will say against your theory is like Wes was, I mean, unless he was doing a really good acting job,
that's what I was
it seemed
thinking.
like he was legitimately finding out about
That's
this.
what I was thinking. In my head, I was literally thinking, I'm going to give him a little bit more credit than maybe he deserves. I'm going to assume this man knew about that leak at 8 a.m., knows how bad they were,
Yeah.
and so had to kind of find a way to buffer it. And by saying that and leading the charge on, like, oh, but they were flaccid, right? It's like all the other guys are thinking, it can't be that small. Maybe it's not. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I will say the one thing about it that I did find suspect was just that he had not been alerted to it up until that point.
Yeah, I was like,
Like,
really?
like if all the guys were talking about it that morning, I'm just finding it hard to believe that like this is
I
happening in
agree.
your home state and no one has said anything to
I
you.
think so. I don't
I don't
know.
know. That
I
part
don't
I
want
that
to.
part I was like, But
And
look,
listen,
either way, my point remains. And again, it's not to like discount Wes or give him any credit or let him off the hook. It's nothing like that, but I do just think we have to like have an ounce of humility for the fact that like if he really was just finding out, that's a really tough headspace to be like, okay, into defending these decisions that I've made. Like I say this only because I looked at him a couple times after that and he just looked like he was going down a rabbit hole. Because how could you not be?
I
You're doing the
really,
calculation of like who, what, why, like,
yeah,
I don't know. So
yeah.
anyways,
I agree
that
with you.
that starts us off, which I also thought it was interesting that Andy like did not dwell on it. They have this conversation, yet Andy doesn't choose to bring it up or talk. So anyways, that was very interesting. From there, I would say we got into like the meat pretty quick, right?
Yeah, and I was glad about that. I mean,
It felt like we gave Sierra her like she had the floor. It felt like pretty early into the episode.
my perspective, again, not to like go to synopsis, but it's just like they hate her. They hate her. They hate Sarah.
Sierra?
Yes.
Oh, Amanda and Wes?
Yes. They hate
Yeah.
her.
Yeah,
They hate
definitely.
her. I mean, it's just like the way that Amanda was acting, the responses, Zanny Bart or not. I mean, just everything. You could tell it was like I have hated you, but I've had to act like I don't hate you
Yep.
because to hate you would have just ruined my career. My
Totally.
career is ruined anyway. So
Yep.
now I'm just going to be exactly who I've always wanted to be. You can, and honestly, that's kind of how I've always felt. That's always how I felt about Amanda. I'm not duped. I'm not sitting here thinking, oh,
Me
wow,
neither.
I
I've never
really,
liked her. I mean, I don't yeah, look.
who's shocked?
Rhinestoners, we brought this up on the show before, but I did not start off watching Summer House from the beginning. I was a late watcher. That being said, I have been watching for about 5 seasons now. So I remember that you had been telling me you have to watch Summer House, and you had explained to me about the girls and the bed rotting and all of that. And while I did get into the show enough to keep watching it, I didn't understand that side of it. I didn't
Right.
understand the page, Amanda. Like, I didn't understand them. I didn't understand who they really were or what they
What
cared about,
storylines were, right.
It just was weird. Um, so I'm not surprised. Yeah,
It's
I'm
just
not surprised.
always moved shifty like this. And it's like, I, and West, and you've said this in previous episodes, right? It's just the West part. And I do think, okay, so jumping ahead, there were a couple of TikToks that came out last week when the previews came out because one of the sound bites that they kept using was Sierra saying, he's with you to spite me. And
Mm-mm.
there were all of these people that were coming out on TikTok saying, like, she's such a bird. She doesn't understand. He never liked you. He's not doing what he's doing. Mm. Now, having seen this in full context, that's not what she was saying.
Yeah,
What she's saying is like, you know, he hated what I did to him, what he thinks I did to him
yeah,
seasons ago. That drew that resentment line that you and I talked about last podcast, right? So deep in him that yes, this decision to do this was made easier because he doesn't like her.
yeah, 100%. It
And being
almost like,
sexually
to your
attracted to
point, it
someone,
almost felt like contempt
mm, much better word for it.
coming across. That it
Much
felt
better
like you
word
could
for it.
like, you
It's
know,
contempt. It's not hatred. It is contempt because hatred is this like active. That's why I always say the line between love and hate is because it's this like active thing. It's
yeah.
just this like, yeah, like she's on a list in his mind that she'll never get off of, and he has no qualms playing in her face
Yeah.
at all.
Now, what is interesting that I'm not sure I fully agree with you on is I don't know if I think that she's always felt this way or something my boyfriend and I have been talking a lot about is
Oh,
like if
Amanda. Okay.
Amanda does hate Sierra, what was the turning point for that? Right? Like, and I've been trying to kind of like reach for those clues. And now I can't remember if we talked about this on the pod. So I'm sorry, Rhinestoners.
I don't
Second.
know what the turning point was, but I
Well,
remember a specific moment of thinking that there was something weird between them, and it was, tell me if you remember this episode. They're laying, it's like 2 seasons ago. Sierra's in the middle of the West thing, circa one, like the first time they ever went through this. Okay.
yeah.
They're all on the couch or on a bed. I want to say it's like Amanda Page, Sierra. And Sierra's talking about not wanting to get kind of back on this West train and because she feels like she's a joke to him.
Hmm.
And then Amanda says to her, I don't know how, but Amanda says something to her about like, yeah, and then you'd be the biggest joke. And I remember when Amanda said that in that moment thinking that because Sierra didn't take that wrong, right? She was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, yeah, totally. And I remember hearing that, like, Amanda thinks that Sierra's a joke. That's why she said that to her.
Yeah.
Because she does think that she's a joke. And she thinks the way that Sierra is moving with West is
Is
juvenile and immature,
yeah.
and that Wes will never take her seriously. Amanda, yeah, this is why y'all, like people ain't
Well,
giving Amanda enough credit because I think she knew really soon. I think Amanda knew seasons ago Wes wasn't serious about Sierra.
yeah, that's fair.
I
I
don't
mean, so
know.
what I was getting at was something much more recent. My theory of what flipped is
Oh, I'm interested.
I think that it was initially a little bit payback because I think that Amanda very much not like the fact that Ciara went and talked to Kyle about their marriage.
Okay, so we're
And I
talking
think I
beach.
might have said that on a recent pod. That's why I was
Okay,
starting to say Rhinestoners. Sorry if I'm bringing this up again.
I don't know
But
if you did say that.
I think that would explain
I don't
so
know if you did.
much.
Okay,
I don't think she
okay.
appreciated it.
It was an overstep.
She even kind of referenced it. Not like in a way of like, I'm so angry at Sierra, but she
Hmm.
did bring it up later to someone where she was like, oh, Sierra, like she means well, but I think that really deep down, it was more of a like, how dare you?
Interesting.
Because think about it, like, especially if they
Interesting.
were not in Amanda's mind as close as the rest of us thought they were. It is one thing to go out and vent with your girlfriend about your marriage. It's another thing for that girlfriend to go and have a conversation with your husband about your failing marriage. I don't know if the best of my friends, if I would be okay with him doing that. I think the only way I would ever be okay with a friend doing that is if I asked them to do it.
Okay, correct.
If
And
I came to you, if I came to a friend and said, Billy Bob and I are really struggling, and could you speak to him, please? But if you or a friend went to Billy Bob to talk about my relationship and I didn't know you were doing that and you didn't warn me that you were doing that and you didn't tell me that you were planning to do that and you just like stepped to him at the beach and was like, "Hey, I think you guys should separate." I'd be pissed. So that has been my theory is like that's from that moment, I think she was like, "Nope, no you don't."
here's a question that I have, and I'm going to ask it, and you don't have to have an answer. Do you think any of it is racism?
Mhm.
I mean,
100%.
outward racism, not subconscious. Do you think that at the end of the day, a little bit is just like,
I think it's racism with Wes because I think he's on a quest to put Sierra in her place.
and I feel maybe it's the same thing with Amanda. Like, how dare that Sierra come in? Amanda was the number one girl in the group next to Lindsay,
Yeah,
and she
I
came in and
I
she took that spot.
I think like
And how dare
to
she
the
as a
point
black
of like
woman?
it feels like contempt coming at I mean again like
Yes, Nicole, that's
they
you.
have gone and just messed with her emotions, messed with her heart, messed with her life, messed with her friend group. And then they are literally sitting there, and their overall posture is, what have we done wrong?
Hmm.
And to get like back into the reunion, that, like, to your point, some of the most stunning moments with Amanda was like the ones where she was actually trying to justify it. You guys have never this, you guys
It's
have
so
never
dark.
that. Like when
It's so
Lindsay was
dark.
like in high school, like, I
Like,
mean,
what are we talking about?
like,
Like, what are you
no, no,
saying?
we haven't done that before. Like, what
No.
if this isn't like a common experience? Like, Amanda, guess what? If it was a common experience, do you think you'd be getting treated the way you're being treated right now? If this was like so, she's literally out there like trying to throw it out to everyone and reach for like, it's normal, right, guys? It's normal. It's normal. Why are you being ostracized?
And
Why are
honestly,
you having to go to Rome while this is being aired? If this is so normal, if this is like such normal behavior, then why are you having to leave the country? Like, please, please, please explain that to me. And I think those were the moments where you're just like, yeah, whether you want to call it hate or contempt, like that to me was the most uncomfortable part of this reunion and watching it was that not only I was not expecting remorse, I was not expecting accountability, okay? Fine. That's like it's a low bar. But to actually have active negative emotions coming from them to see, you know what
She
I'm
said,
saying?
fuck off.
Like
She
that's
said,
the part
fuck
I just
off,
couldn't
Sierra.
believe. Exactly. That's the part that is just so crazy. It's like, fine, you cannot be in the right mind to like apologize and really own up to this, but you're actively still throwing
Barbs.
darkness her
It's
way.
like, what are we do? It was diabolical is
Crazy.
really the only word to say it because you just
Crazy.
have to kind of sit back and just be like, and listen, we said it last week. I'm repeating it, but I want to just say it on this pod too. We know that Kyle is not a king among kings. We understand everything about Kyle. Like, we get it. Okay. He was not a great husband. However, I also think too maybe that will come in the next two. Maybe we'll get a little bit deeper into the West and the Kyle of it all, and I hope that we do because that's something that also is stunning to me. To use your word, I love that. It's like, but you were friends with Kyle too. Like
Yeah.
West, you had a relationship with this man. He came home to he's met your family. Like you owed him a lot more than what he got as well. Even
Yeah.
if it was a sit down months before anything happened. Like why? And honestly, I don't know. Like I do think too, knowing the type of person that West is and knowing how quickly he picked up on the Jesse wanting to kiss Sierra thing as being a
Yeah.
weird moment. He knows when things fester how that like he is emotionally intelligent, I guess, for to some degree. Okay. I just also feel like did you then West, and this is why I go back to is he just a horrible person? Did
Yeah.
you really just want all of this to be a storyline? Because if it was really about this love that you had for Amanda, then you knew that you were feeling something for Amanda months ago.
Yeah.
Could you
I
not
think
have just gone to Kyle man to man and say, Man, I think I'm falling for Amanda. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, I
But
don't,
see, okay, that's where for me, it's like we all have to understand that there are so many different layers to this in terms of like their individual personalities, their relationship styles. Like, something that even hit me watching in the city, which I can't believe I'm watching.
I
Like,
know. I kind of love it.
why are we watching this when we know this whole thing is so like fake or whatever? But okay, but like what kind of dawned on me, and that I'm gonna make, just get ready here. This is gonna be a good point,
I
okay?
love it.
It dawned on me watching Kyle call his mom that the reason that Amanda and Kyle did not work out is that Kyle is anxious attachment and Amanda is avoidant attachment. I realize that that is such a good example as to why. Here's why. Amanda or Lindsay to Amanda, are you gonna tell your parents? No, I don't think so. Kyle, mom, I think Amanda and she's moving out. Okay, so just even in that example, you
They're
can
coping,
see
or
you can
yes,
see how differently they handle things. And I
yes,
think that, and this will tie back to because we should talk about this where Sierra really started to get deep and mean and talk about why Amanda is perfect for Wes because,
that was
whatever.
wild too.
Yes, all of that is true, but it is also that they're both avoidance.
Yeah,
That is why this little
yeah,
merger has occurred.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Wes has avoided having to
yes.
take responsibility, accountability for any of his feelings, his actions,
And it's
whatever.
worked.
Okay. Um, and that's why he's pissed at Sierra because Sierra is demanding that he not avoid it, right? And he's like, no, 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 I want to stay over here and avoid. Okay.
Yeah.
And the real reason Amanda's perfect for him is because she is the exact same attachment style. She's been with Kyle, and he's like, we're unhappy. We're not having a baby. We're not doing any of the things we said we were going to do. Shouldn't we be doing those things? And she's like, figure it out. No big deal.
Wait, hold on.
We don't need
Wait,
to
this is
talk about
Amanda.
this
Wait,
this year, Kyle. Let's
wait,
talk
hold
about
on.
it next year.
How
Okay.
much are tickets to Rome?
Exactly.
2 round-trip flights to Rome.
I'm sorry, you want me to be here and like deal with all of the fallout? No.
Yes. Fuck
So
off.
that's really what it comes. So that, to my point about like it's so many different layers. It's like it's their personalities. Of course, they also have an attraction, but it is also just like a marrying of attachment styles. And I think that kind of some of what Sierra is saying is true. And while she said it in a much more mean way, is like, yeah, like Amanda is not going to call Amanda West on his bullshit, but similarly, West is also not going to call Amanda on hers either. So
Exactly.
those
They're
two,
perfect for
at
each
least for
other.
the short term, will be pretty happy together because
I agree.
it's not like they're we love to focus on the woman, right? So it's like, oh, you won't hold him accountable. It's like, yeah, she also wants someone that's going to leave her the F alone. Okay. Kyle has been like, Amanda this, Amanda that, Amanda like, and now she's like, this guy just leaves me alone, just leaves me alone. He doesn't expect anything. He doesn't want to have serious relationship conversations. We just make out, we date, we hang out, we go to Rome. It's real chill.
Here's another thing too that you're making me think about. Okay. Okay. Amanda has been an active participant in the Summer Life house style. Like she loves it too.
Yeah,
She does love the partying and the drinking and the whatever.
totally.
Does she love the Kyle being out until 4 a.m.? Maybe not, right? But I also think a little bit like, do you remember a couple episodes ago where we were talking about thought predators? And I was
Yes.
saying like, oh, like maybe we could get one over, but it would be much easier if you already knew us, like Selena and Benny. This is another thing with West. He knows the product. He knows eventually she'll lose steam on the relationship and
A
that
hundred
his
percent.
life is gonna look like going out until 4 a.m. And sure, she'll bitch and moan a little bit, but she'll never investigate anything that ever
No.
comes up. She'll just
That's
sleep in
why
her
he's still
bed.
with her because he knows he can just do whatever.
He's already seen it. He's like, man, not only is like she hot, right? She'll be um good for clout before
Yeah.
everything came out, right? She'll be good for my clout. She's incredibly hot. I am turned on by her, and ultimately in 2 years, she'll be so beat down by this relationship that I'll be able to do whatever I want. I'll go be a DJ.
Or maybe she wouldn't even want to be with me anyways because she's on her healing divorce journey.
Exactly.
I
It's
don't
like
think
he's
he's
like
entered
doing the
into this
best
with
by her.
100%. That's not, it's just simply not what this is about, you know? So I think that I at this point am now just very curious to see what's going to happen when we get back into that conversation.
Yeah.
I think the moment, so it did kind of end with like, Sierra getting a little bit, I think, well, what Kyle thought was harsh. And then I loved her little clap back. It's not my wife.
Mhm.
Not my wife, Kyle.
I mean,
Um, then we got into some of the other cast members a little bit, which was also interesting. And Miss Bailey,
hi,
she
clocking
be
in.
she be holding that in, man. I think she was ready to go. Where has this been? And why haven't people been protecting Bailey from Ben? I
I
have to
also do
say,
like
I believe Bailey wholeheartedly. The second that Ben came on the screen, I remember sitting here next to my boyfriend. I was like, I don't like this guy. And he was like, why? He's really attractive. They all think he's really attractive. I was like, I don't like him. Like I can just read energy so well. And I saw him and I was not fooled. Okay. I don't care how attractive people think he is. He's not. Also, that's the other thing. His profile is like I'm a profile person. Your profile
he has
also
no
has
profile.
his
It's
profile is
Milton.
like, no,
It's
it
Milton.
ain't it. Okay.
No.
So, anyways, saw through all of that, and I totally am on Bailey's side.
When you're pregnant, your senses, especially your sense of smell. I don't know if this is true, but someone told me this, some midwife, so I'm gonna go with it as being real. The senses part is real, but the next part I don't know. So your senses all get heightened, especially your sense of smell, right? And this goes back to us being like animals in a cave, right? We're
Yeah,
like cave people, and you have to like smell the lion coming around the corner before the lion gets to the cave, right? Okay. That is the same thing. Like, we all still have these like animalistic
totally.
instincts within us, that I do think, to your point about reading Ben, okay? That's what Bailey is speaking to, but And she's saying it. She is
She
saying it, but
is.
like
She is
that
giving
that's that
examples, but I think it
it's
is
that
also
animal part in a woman that we're just like,
that's why she's so worked
mm,
up. To your point, it's like she's giving examples, but I think the reason other people aren't coming to her defense is they're a little confused. And I think it is more about like she can feel the bad
feeling.
energy from him. 100%. I agree with you on that. It's true.
And I agree, maybe not everyone is so in tune to it, right? But Bailey is.
Also,
Bailey
like
is.
I mean, I'm sorry, like even what she was saying about, oh, well, he's different around men, and then they showed the clip of
Uh,
Kyle, which like, oh, him taking Kyle's hat off to hug him. Like, what?
See, but even that too, that's
That
like
just
alpha beta stuff,
yeah,
right?
I
Like,
just am like, I'm so good off of that. Yeah. It was I will be so happy if Ben does not come back.
I don't think that he added anything. Justice for Levi, I would be like, listen, to be quite honest with you, I'd be totally fine with Levi coming back and giving her a second chance. Why not? She's pretty.
Yeah,
She's a
I feel like
foil for Bailey.
I don't think she was brought into the mix enough. I don't really understand what happened there. I would love to know. I was absolutely gobsmacked by
I
KJ.
know. But now that I know that, I'm like, honestly, I think that he was struggling this summer.
It does make sense. I feel like yes, I think now certain things that happened and even just like his demeanor in certain
Yes.
scenes and stuff like that. I just think that like obviously it's become much easier, I think, for celebrities and people in the public eye to share these types of things much more so than it was decades ago. That being said, I think it's still such a brave thing to do, especially when it is some kind of mental illness, because I think that people still do make judgments about that or
Mhm.
have a lack of understanding, meaning like I think it's a different thing when a star comes out and says like I have Parkinson's or I have,
Mhm.
you know, MS or something like that, right? Like
Mhm.
with mental health, I mean, you've even seen like with Kanye, right? Like that's not garnered him any sympathy, right? People
Mhm.
are like we don't care.
Mhm.
And I just think it was really brave of him to not only share like the diagnosis but also like what happened leading up to it, like
Mhm.
um just yeah, one of those like bravo moments where you're just like, wow, like not what I was expecting this segment to kind of like focus on.
I
But good for him that he's
um
like getting the help he needs. And like KJ is one I would say that like I hope he does come back. I was skeptical on him like first episode and even, you know, we talked about going to the event here in New York and like I just wasn't sure because and here's why, Rhinestoners. The reason I wasn't sure about KJ is that when I went to go see him at the live event, he was very much being positioned as Wes' friend. And I don't like Wes, and I never have. So
we didn't even really see that.
so
He
that
was
was
way
why I
more.
was skeptical. Well, he is Kate. That is why KJ's here. Wes
That's
brought KJ
true.
onto the
That's true. In
show.
the
Okay.
beginning, Wes was checking on him and his anxiety. He just
Yeah,
went with Dara so quickly that it
a
almost just
hundred
felt like,
percent. So, yeah,
yeah,
I
you're
can be
right.
honest in saying that I had one eye open on KJ because I was like, "Is your Wes friend?" I don't
Yeah.
know. So now
Yeah.
that he's not anymore, like, please bring him back.
Wait, I'm forgetting the I wanted to make a point, but now I'm forgetting her name. Anyway, but there maybe you'll remember it. Hold on. Let me just see if I can. Gina. It's Gina's best friend from The Real Housewives of Orange County. Emily.
Emily,
Emily
yeah,
Simpson on The Real Housewives of Orange County last season, the last season that was on, she was talking about the struggles that she's had with her son, who recently, anyway, was diagnosed with on the spectrum, and she was literally saying like she had opened up a season previously about some of his symptoms, just
yes,
simply going through what he was experiencing,
yeah.
and that these women had written from,
Bravo helped diagnose him.
that's what you're talking about, and that's what I love. Is that these are the
Yep,
stories that, like, yeah, we're not gonna see. It's not that we have to go super, super deep and get all of your kids' medical stuff on
yeah.
television. That's not what it is. But it's like this is literally helping awareness.
100 and that's exactly it. It's like I think to sort of hear that he was in such a dark place but that he got the help he needed and then through that process figured out like yeah, something is really wrong. I think it's like it is that proof point for people of like that's exactly why you have to seek help.
You
You
do.
know, like
You do.
mental health is not something to like F around with, you know. And
Yes.
that's why I'm saying I'm just so happy that like he has people around him to get him the help he needs. Because I think that so often other people, like their network, their community writes it off sometimes, or is like, oh, well, they've always been a little whatever, or, like, so yeah. And I feel for him. I think it must be so hard to get an adult, like to get an adult, to be an adult and get a diagnosis like that,
Oh my God.
you
It's
know?
so scary to know that with those particular diseases, it's like you could be 30 years old and it hit you,
Yeah.
especially in men. Like that, it is crazy how it's like those, like even Kanye West, and that is why there should have been. I know it's very hard with the anti-Semitism, and I'm with that. That is what has turned me off of him ultimately at I was able to forgive some of the bipolar stuff with Kanye West until we got to that. And
Yeah.
then it was lights out for me.
Yeah. Then it's like, okay,
Um,
come on, like
but
you got
even for him, it is true that like he went through so much of his life not experiencing that for that switch to just be flipped on him. And then
totally.
also be a genius, right? Where your brain is always on. And like KJ's a very smart person. He's a skateboarder. He has all of these different interests. So I'm sure it also is just like you're just trying to be this naturally creative person.
Yeah.
And then you're trying, it's just, more power to him. I agree. And thank you for bringing it up because I think it is worth touching on and
Oh
highlight.
no, for sure. I mean, yeah, it was definitely a sobering moment, I would say.
Mm.
So I mean, again, I think like moving into next week, I am curious to know how they're going to sort of balance returning to the scandal versus like I imagine there must be other things they do want to touch on, like Kyle's blow up, or I don't know, like are we going to get into Kyle and I'm
Carl,
sorry, to KJ and Dara's love story? Are we going to talk
right?
about that at all? I mean, there are just little pockets of things that we haven't really dived deep on yet. So
I
I'll be
think we'll dive
curious,
deep
but
on Ben and Sabrina. I do think that ultimately that cast is going to want an answer, and
yeah,
sorry, that audience is going to want an answer, and
yeah,
I think we're going to get that, and I'm excited to hear.
I hope so. I think, and so we'll see what happens with next week. I think it is a very surreal thing to watch it and then head into In the City. I think I'm watching it because like it's another New York show. I love seeing,
Yeah, that's what
like
I
the
was thinking.
places
I was like, this
that
must
I
be
go
fun
to,
for you.
or and some of them are like it's fun being like, oh, you're the owner of that place.
Okay, see,
I'm
that
like,
is
oh,
fun.
okay. But even I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure like how long I'm gonna stick with it. Some of the things that are emerging are a little interesting. I'm very not interested in having to like hear any more about Lindsay and what's her face though. Like,
No, I don't
please
care.
just like, and also why it's Danielle, right? Why is Danielle on the show?
I don't know.
She
I
is
don't know.
very obnoxious.
I don't
Like when
know.
she left Summer House, I was like, finally. I that for
They
me was like
say
my level of enjoyment and like immediately went up after she left. She's
my
very
understanding
not fun to
is that
watch
there's
on TV.
that Q score thing or whatever, and this is where my understanding of Danielle. Oh my God, I'm sorry, but you could put Vanita and Gabby in that category too. Like where it's just like their Q scores are high enough that you're getting from the audience that we want to see them again. There's no way.
I
There's
don't
no
get it.
way. How do they keep on getting cast?
I
Like it
don't know.
makes no sense. I don't know. Like we're 7 seasons in on Vanita not having a storyline. Like what? But other people get dropped so quickly,
But even to be like,
So
let's take Danielle, who's like been off of Bravo, and bring her back because why? It was so successful the first time.
and Danielle also like literally has like she's hard to watch. It is hard
Yes,
to watch
but
because
that's
she's
what I'm saying. She has
so
no redeeming qualities. So it's kind of just like
yes.
it's like a painful and well, to be honest, the main problem for her right now is that her boyfriend is more likable than she is.
That's fair.
So I think that's going to be rough. But yeah, I think that's going to be the tough thing for me within the city is like if that continues to be a focal point and this whole need for like her and Lindsay to repair and all of that, I have no interest in all of that. So okay, in our last few minutes, let's touch on Rhode Island because it is getting pretty interesting. And last week's episode, I mean, I'm still not over Slam Pig, to be honest with you.
Dude,
So we
this
got
show is dark energy,
it
man.
is really like, yeah,
I
it's
don't
interesting the things that
know.
they say to each other.
Like Liz is dark.
Well,
I don't know
so
what's
you're
going on
hearing
there.
about the stuff with Liz, like the criminal stuff, right?
That and like the way I have seen previews for next week, so it hasn't even happened on TikTok. I don't know why, but I literally get fed like, watch the first 7 minutes of Real Housewives, and I end up
Oh,
watching the
I need
first
to get
seven.
that. I want
It's
that.
awesome.
Yeah, I
It's
want a
so
spoiler.
fun. So I end up watching these things, and then I conflate them, thinking that it was the episode previously. So anyway, it's not. It's a scene from an upcoming episode where Alicia and Liz get in a fight in the car about Liz basically saying that she wasn't homeless,
Oh, yeah.
right? And the interaction in that car of her telling Alicia it's dark. Like
Yeah.
her face is literally like, "Oh, I'm sorry that happened to you." Like, I don't know. That's not a good explanation, but she's so dismissive that
Yeah.
I was like, I got major, like, yeah, and Ricky has to die,
Exactly.
and you,
And that's it for Alicia.
like, that's kind of the
It's a
vibes
wrap.
I got. I don't know. Ooh,
No
weird.
more pizza, my mama, whatever it's
Yeah,
called.
I don't know. I was like, Alicia, you might be swimming with the fishes. She's got this fishing boat. I don't know,
There
man.
is definite mob vibes about Rhode Island.
It's just it's a little weird. We touched on it. The relationship with Alicia and her husband might be more about like, yeah, like, when the bus comes, we don't want you to be the first stop type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is
I do enjoy
interesting.
Alicia and her husband though. I find them hilarious. I think he's I think like I saw something today that was like the best marriage dynamic is like a chaotic woman and a man who genuinely enjoys that.
That,
And
yes,
that's 100% Alicia and her
absolutely.
husband. He
Yeah,
gets
it's like
such a kick out of her.
he's the definition of that saying, he's exactly where he wants to
Oh
be.
yeah, 100%. Like you don't need to send help. He's fine. Give him a cracker. Oh, okay. So since we're on the topic, okay, like she did crack me up this episode with like her whole presentation and the bid for ownership over the pizza
Shh,
company. I
you're
mean,
giving too much information away.
that was a scream, and even him like
The whole thing.
I think that watching him interact with her though in those scenes, you can see the love that he has for her, and even just like the way he kind of like he I think that obviously Bravo is liking Alicia because she comes off a certain way. She has that sort of airhead quality, okay? But what I really appreciate about him is he never responds to her like he thinks she's an airhead,
Totally.
which
Totally.
happens a lot, actually.
Totally. I will say what we're seeing, aside from Rula, and like, okay, for the people that are married, what we're seeing as far as the men seeming interested in their wives is like pretty good so far, right? Rosie's husband, I think, is very interested in Rosie.
Yes, I think
Liz's
so.
husband is interested in Liz.
Joe
Alicia's
Ellen's
husband is
husband
interested.
seems very into her.
Right? He's very online, very present. So I think that that adds like a cool dimension because what we've been lamenting for so long about these housewives is
Yeah.
like no one's truly a housewife. No
Yeah,
one's
they're all
really
like
living this,
single or like divorced or
which makes it, and the Kelsey thing I do think is interesting because basically, like, I understand people who are coming out and saying like hate on Kelsey, she's not bringing anything, but if you're really trying to step back and think about the narrative because they
yeah.
are trying to tell a story, what you're seeing is someone kind of come to terms with like that this is what women constantly go through though, that like in order to do the thing, which is the kid,
Yeah.
the best way to do it is to saddle yourself, not saddle yourself, but like is to be with the person you're having the kid with, right? Is to
Yeah.
cohabitate, is to make a family, is to
Yeah.
have a home because then your kid is happier. This is
I
just
thought you
this
were
is
about to say it's to settle.
no, no, no. Just that like if
I was like,
you
just settle and then you can have the kid. Just
no,
lower
no,
your
never settle.
expectations.
Never settle.
Thought that's where you were going because of this guy, this new guy.
Oh, well, she might be settling with Bill. I don't know about that.
That's what,
But
that's
she's
where I was going.
grappling with that, right? She's just grappling with like, yeah, I'm not gonna be the young hot bitch no more. Like if
Yeah.
no matter who it is, right? That part of me will die. And do
Yeah.
I want to cross over into the housewifery? And so I do think that there's something there that is kind of interesting about Kelsey
Well,
because
I
she's
also think they need
how.
a tension point too, right? And like that having there be someone who is single, like
Right.
helps
Right.
deliver that, I think.
Yes.
Because otherwise I'm
Yes.
not really sure. Like even right now, if you remove her, what would the drama be?
Exactly.
These past two
Exactly.
episodes were centered on her and Rosie.
And
So
I do think that like she was trying to be funny. I do think that probably here's what I'm honestly thinking. Rosie probably lives in an HOA whereby she had to get permission to film to begin with,
oh yeah.
okay?
So
And
yeah.
then made a bunch of promises about how she was going to be the quietest mouse in church. And then Kelsey comes roaring through that neighborhood. I honestly felt like her reaction was more of this knee-jerk reaction to like, oh no, I am now going to have to deal with the HOA board. You cannot. And she did kind of say
I
that.
That's a great theory, and I'm with you on that, but I feel like that's giving her the benefit of the doubt. And I think what really happened is like,
Tell
I
me.
think Kelsey thought it was funny, and I think Rosie was just not prepared to
She
actually
just blew
move
her
on.
top. Yeah.
She wasn't, no, she just didn't. I think that I
Oh,
think Rosie hadn't really had an opportunity to say certain things that she wanted to say. Like, I think she had all these digs in her head that she'd been working up with her
she's like, no,
husband,
we got to keep going.
like the, you don't even have a house, you don't
Oh,
have a
yeah.
deed, blah 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 blah. And I think Kelsey just gave her the perfect excuse to like, look, if it hadn't been that, something else would have happened during that haircut. Rosie was ready and looking for any opportunity to finally clear her chest of all the things that she really had not been saying. So that's what I think happened. And it
No,
doesn't make me
I'm
dislike
reading
Rosie
that.
any less. I like her, but I do think that like in the reunion, I hope she can come to terms and just be honest in that like it was a joke. She did not want to take it as a joke because she was looking for a reason to let Kelsey have it. And she did.
And she
She let
did.
her have it.
She did. Someone was saying that like Kelsey has this very like head voice, this like
Yeah.
nasal tone, whatever, and that Rosie has because of her she's like a correspondent or whatever. She has theater voice, which is chest voice. And that like she won purely from decibel alone,
Yeah.
like she simply just and I was like, that is funny because she is, and
But
she
like
is just bigger as well.
I don't blame Rosie because I do think Kelsey had been messing with her this whole
She
time.
is messing with her.
And she went after her because again, she's the only one she's actually jealous of. What's I always forget Bachelorette lady's name.
Ashley
Yeah,
and
like
Jaden.
she doesn't want Ashley's life. That's the problem.
Ashley
She's
doesn't
like
want Ashley's
looking at
life.
Ash exactly. She's looking at Ashley's life and she's like, I think I'm good.
What is Ashley's
Your husband
motivation?
works at a cafe.
What is
Or
her whole,
let's
why does
see.
Ashley get up in the morning?
What would you rather want? Former like bachelor whatever guy who works at a cafe and is struggling to like keep his cafe afloat, or Rosie's husband who's a Frank Sinatra singer slash entertainment conglomerate owner and is like flying all of the women out to Baltimore, wherever the hell they're gonna be. What a tough choice. I wonder why she's gone
A
after
really
Rosie.
nice guy.
Come
He's,
on.
like he actually seems like he really likes Rosie.
Oh, I
Like,
like Rosie's husband a lot. Yeah, I'm
oh
like,
man.
that's exactly why Kelsey has chosen to go after her. She's like, you're the one whose life I really want.
That's actually really fair. That's
Even
actually,
Rosie's husband is like 10 times more attractive than the leprechaun
yeah.
that Kelsey's about to procreate with.
Yeah. Oh my God. I
So I think
know.
that that's, like
I
another
know.
part. Yeah, honestly, the more Rhinestoners that I talk through it, the more that I think I am enjoying Rhode Island. I think I need to loosen up saying that, I'm not sure. I think I'm liking it more than I want to admit.
I like it. They're finding their footing.
Yeah.
They're finding their footing. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Listen, the reality is, I listened to that stupid History of Bravo. I don't know. It's a book that came out a couple of years ago. It did great numbers. It was on like the New York Times bestsellers list. It's like the origin of it, and
Yeah.
basically the takeaway is just it's so hard to cast these things and get chemistry.
100%.
It's so
100%.
hard. So when it happens, it is kind of just like you gotta. That's why I'm willing to give them season one of the
It's
reboot of
true. You have to work out the dynamics.
you do. But whereas season one of the reboot of New York, we all knew that first season, well, most of us at
Yeah.
least, were like, I think even given a second season, this is not gonna shake
Well,
it.
I think this is like another reboot. That's why I feel
No,
like
which is
this.
so
They've added a bunch of new people.
I
Carol
know.
Raswell is coming back.
Which I don't
I keep seeing like little things of her filming on the street. I think that's weird too. Like, I get that she's cool and I want to be that cool when I'm her age, but like, I feel like that's why Jenna Lyon didn't really work is because like she was significantly older than those
I was gonna
women.
say, I think you age out of this stuff, to be
Well,
quite
they
honest
kept
with
trying
you.
to like gloss over that, but I actually do think it makes things kind of awkward. It's also why certain things are
Liz.
weird with Liz.
Yes.
Exactly, where she's like,
Yes.
sorry, but I'm not really going down a slide flirting with,
Yes. She's
whatever.
60.
I get
She's
it, and it does
57 years
add
old.
it's nice to have that balance, but I also am just like sometimes I just wish, we don't always need to have that.
I completely agree. I also think too, it's like if I'm gonna see that, I want it to be in the most fabulous light. And like Jenna Lyons, I think was supposed to be fabulous, and I did not get fabulosity from Jenna Lyons personally. That's
Yeah.
just me.
Yeah.
I did not want to buy anything that she was selling.
I
That's
mean,
okay.
I did when she was going through her closet, but
Right,
not
but she never wore
necessarily
any of
like
that.
yeah, but not
Or slide.
necessarily like how she would,
Move.
show up to set and stuff like that. So,
Well,
well, I
look at
cannot
us.
wait for next week's Summer House reunion. We will be back,
We'll be back.
Rhinestoners, to debrief once again. This was episode 22, and we'll see you next week. We still have two more to go, right?
I
It's
know. I don't know.
part.
I'm nervous, but I'm excited. I'm
I'm so
excited.
excited.
I'm nervous.
So excited. And next week we'll also talk about the Valley as well because that has been interesting and I'm
Yeah, there's
excited
been
for
a
tonight's episode. So we'll have to catch up on our folks in
that
the
also people have so many thoughts about the valley. Like it really is crazy how much that's stirring up just conversation
Oh
on
yeah.
what
Yeah.
are we
We
doing.
definitely we'll dedicate part of the next
Okay,
week's
we'll
episode
talk
for
about it.
that.
We'll get into it. I love you, sis.
I love you too. Bye,
Thanks.
Rhinestoners.